Hi everybody, I'm Stacy with girlsinthestacks.com, and today I have Danny Tobey with me. He is the author of The Faculty Club. Welcome, Danny.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And this is a little surprise, but Danny and I both went to high school together. We went to Pass School in Fort Worth. I say it's the best high school in Fort Worth. What do you think?
World.
In the world.
Absolutely.
Go Panthers, right?
Say hi to Mr. Hamilton.
Anyway, so this is his debut book, The Faculty Club. It's kind of a let's say like a supernatural, paranormal thriller.
Yeah.
And it's a great, like an excellent summary.
Thank you.
Kind of relax. Well, it's not really relaxing, but
Scary, relaxing.
Scary, relaxing. It's not too intense. Okay, let's start off with your education because it's really impressive. When I read, I was like, someone I went to school with, went all these places. Okay, you went to Pass School.
I did.
You went to Harvard and got a degree from Harvard. You got a degree from Yale Law, and then you went
for some reason kept going.
And then you kept going after 8 years, however long that took, and you went to UT Southwestern Medical Center of Dallas.
Yes.
So let's see, you're a lawyer and you're a doctor. Okay.
I have a very patient wife.
I was gonna say she's over here.
She's sitting over there and she's shaking her head.
Okay, so with that, was all that schooling like a means to an end, which is writing, or was it the other way around?
I have to be honest and say it was not that well planned out.
Okay.
I was more just exploring my interests. I mean, college I went to and then got into law and philosophy, and so I went to law school, and then when I was in law school I got into medical ethics and bioethics and all those sorts of hard questions, and then I got into medicine through that, and it's a little crazy. It's way too much more school than anyone needs, but I'm glad because like the book there's a doctor character and a lawyer character, and they sort of get into their professions a little bit.
So you're able to use all that knowledge that you learned.
Yes, my parents can breathe a sigh because it's all being used.
It's all being used.
It was all worth it.
Okay, well we're glad you did it. Okay, from what I gather, you are a John Grisham, Stephen King fan, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you like thrillers, horror stories.
I do.
What draws you to them specifically, and what inspired you to write this particular story?
Okay, so John Grisham, what draws me to him is he has this amazing quality of just like first paragraph you're drawn into his book, and it's just this readability that just pulls you from page to page and chapter to chapter. So I love that. And then Stephen King, it's the worlds he creates. He creates these just spooky paranormal worlds that follow their own logic, and the logic's consistent for that world, but you just buy into it and you sort of go with them for a while. And so what I wanted to do with this book was kind of combine the two. I wanted a John Grisham, just fast-paced action, chase scene, puzzle, but in sort of a paranormal Stephen King kind of world. And so I thought it would be fun to start at a law school and sort of have it as a legal thriller, and then as the character gets deeper into this very old law school, the novel takes this crazy left turn because he sort of breaks through this wall he's not supposed to know about and finds a whole new world there. So that's where it came from.
Well, talking about, Jeremy, he's the main character of the book. He gets accepted into the greatest law school in the world. As a graduate law student yourself, how is Jeremy, like when I was reading the book, I kept thinking, well, I really don't know him, but I pictured you. Like when I pictured Jeremy, I pictured you. So how much of Jeremy is you, or how much of him is like people you kind of looked at when you were at school, you noticed?
So, okay, the huge part of Jeremy is me, there's no question. I mean, public school kid from Texas who kind of ends up at this New England school where he's never even really been out of Texas before, and he's like, I went through all those feelings, like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here, my roommates, this is true in college, my roommates went to, famous prep schools that I'd heard of, but never met anyone from, and just felt really out of my league, and as time goes on in that school, you kind of realize that someone from Texas can do just as well as someone from anywhere else, and you get comfortable in your own skin. But so I wanted to start with that feeling that Jeremy had, that I had, and give it to Jeremy, but then that drives him to do some very bad stuff, because I wanted to play with the idea of what if you wanted to fit in so bad at this school that you were willing to basically throw away all your values.
Exactly.
And so, fortunately, I mean...
That wasn't you, was
no,
it?
I mean, I think the part that was me was just really wanting to fit in and like trying on different personalities and like starting to dress differently. I mean, I think I went through that period in the first couple years and then kind of realized, you know, what Jeremy realizes as it goes on of like, what am I doing? Why don't I just be myself? But I fortunately did not go as deep in the wrong direction as Jeremy does.
That's what made him so believable to me. He was like a real character, and I bought his character.
Oh, cool.
So,
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, from the Rubik's Cube to introspection to the unknown, I don't want to give away anything, to the underground tunnels, to good versus evil, and philosophical debates. How much time did you spend on the research? And I've always found it interesting how authors, well, they'll do the research and then how you plot everything to come together at the end. You have all these loose ends and you don't know how they fit together. But at the end, it just comes together. So how did you write that, and what made you decide to do certain elements, and how did you keep track of it all? Did you have like a big thing on the wall with like everything written out?
I did. I have this huge pet peeve, which is I think there's this, I don't know, this should be like a theory or something, but the better the mystery, the more disappointing the ending. Because I feel like sometimes people make these really exciting mystery books by just coming up with crazy clues that don't fit together, and so you're really into it because you're thinking, how could this all come together? And then you get to the end and it doesn't all come together. And that's sort of the trade-off for having a great mystery, is there's no way to resolve it all. And so the challenge with this book was, I said, I don't want to do that. Going in, I want to know exactly where this is going and still keep them guessing, but I didn't want that. I mean, you know, I use The Sixth Sense as my example, but that is a perfect mystery to me because it's an amazing mystery with a totally satisfying payoff. Like, he knew the secret going back to the very beginning, at least in the final draft. And so that's what I did. I mean, I mapped it out. I said, this is the secret that this ancient society has. And then I built all the clues and puzzles around that so that they all led back to the same place. And then I backed that to the very beginning, which is Jeremy showing up at this school and meeting people. And so the little hints at the beginning were like the last thing I came up with.
Okay.
And so they all paths like lead back to Rome, kind of.
They did, and I was very impressed with that. I mean, where did you learn that stuff about Rubik's Cube? I mean, how did you even think about that?
Wikipedia.
I almost like brought one like all dismantled, like, here, solve it.
I did very in-depth research with the reliable Wikipedia website.
Good for you.
One of the nice things about writing a beach book is nobody really cares if you get it wrong. I mean,
like, I'm gonna go Google that now.
Right. So there are some puzzles that have to do with Rubik's Cubes, and I may have gotten it wrong, like just how many combinations there are, but no one's ever gonna care.
Yeah, really.
As long as the book's fun, that's like rule number one.
Exactly, and it's a fun book, and I recommend it to people who like read thrillers. Very. So this is your first book, but you have another book in the works that's being edited now, and it's a medical thriller. Do you have a title?
I'm not allowed to say the title because this title changed like 20 times. And so the title will change, but I have one that I really like, and I actually think, fingers crossed, this one's gonna stick.
And is there anything you can tell us about that book? And it's coming out a year from now, right? Like June 1st, 2011.
Exactly.
Somewhere around then. Okay, so you're writing a medical thriller, you're editing it now.
It's a medical thriller, but also paranormal. So just like this book sort of starts in the legal world and the character breaks into a new place, kind of the same thing. He's a doctor who's sort of at a very frustrating point in his career, feels like he's hit a wall, and then he gets asked by some acquaintances to help with he's a psychiatrist, and to help with sort of a psychiatric problem, and from there he discovers something very unusual going on.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
But I'll tell you one, this is a teaser, but I won't do a spoiler from this one, but there's a character who disappears in this book, and you find out in the second book what happens to him.
I'm trying to think about who that is. I won't say who I think
I'll tell
it is.
you.